Welcome everybody to another episode of Coach Convos. Very excited to bring in pitching coach Andrew Bailey and get to know a little bit more about you. And Let's start with why you wanted to become a pitching coach. You were a player and you just couldn't stay away from the game.
I have no idea why I wanted to become a pitching coach.
Especially asking you this in August, right?
No. I mean, quite frankly, I just love the game. I just want to be a part of it any way I can. And unfortunately, playing career came to an end because of injuries, and had some opportunities to stay in the game in multiple capacities, and just thought this would be a cool avenue to try. And short time later, got a call from Cap and Farhan, and now I'm here. So I'm still learning, I'm still growing. It's every day is a challenge, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
Were you the type of player that towards the end of your career, you started thinking, what's the next chapter going to be? Or were you always thinking about that while you were playing?
No, I think it's important for players to be kind of like egotistical in that. It's like self-centered a little bit. I think it's really priority. I was the kid that had my Series 7 books in AA, studying for my Series 7s for finance. And then at that point in time, I was like, I really need to figure out what I want to do. So I really concentrated on baseball from that point on. And I think it wasn't until 2014 when I was rehabbing with the Yankees after shoulder surgery. I was in Tampa at their minor league facility, where I kind of thought about coaching, or just because my relationships with the other coaches, and then most importantly, the younger players that were, from literally all over the world. And then your young draftees were kind of like asking me questions and just having good conversations. So at that point in time, I was like kind of thinking about what was next a little bit. And it kind of just got my light bulb going a little bit in my head. So that's kind of, I guess, the impetus for where it all started.
I don't know if the fans can hear it, but I always love to call out an accent when I hear it, and I can hear the East Coast in your accent.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
ask.
Yeah.
I love that. So growing up back there, who were your baseball heroes?
Growing up, I guess, the Phillies, of course, the Darren Daltons and the Lenny Dykstras, watching the Braves and the Phillies battle it out in the early 90s was kind of my upbringing in baseball. Kurt Schilling, Mitch Williams.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Just say coffee for me.
Coffee.
But then bring on that coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally one of my favorite
It's
accents.
not a sub, it's a
I'm sorry to
hoagie.
put you
Yeah, exactly.
I know, it's another language.
Yeah, another language.
All right, so let's get into a little bit of depth regarding what you do. And one of the first things that comes to mind, and I don't mean to go to the negative right out of the gate, but I always think about you when the starting pitcher or a reliever are struggling. Mm-hmm. And what you go through when you're watching that, because you know what that feels like. What are the emotions running through your mind? And you also know you got to fix this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. For me and my job on a daily basis, 9 times out of 10, somebody is going to have a bad outing. Whether or not you win the game aside,
sure,
you could have one pitcher of the 3 or 4 that touched the game that just didn't throw enough strikes or walked the guy, or just, results were good, but the process wasn't. So no matter what we win or lose, most of the time I'm always like, all right, now I got to touch that guy,
Right.
So it's like right on to the next thing. Obviously the other day when, Webby goes 8 and Camilo goes 9, it's a beautiful thing.
Sure.
That the next day is super easy. But no, it's just about building relationships and understanding how to use our different departments.
Okay, so we had Justin Veely on for our last show, the hitting coach, and I posed this question to him, and he looked at me like I was crazy that I even asked the question.
Okay.
So I said, all right, I'll ask Andrew Bailey. What's harder, hitting or pitching?
At the major league level?
Yeah.
Hitting. It has
Oh,
to
so
be.
you agree with this?
Yeah,
Because
I
I thought for
guess.
sure you'd pick
Yeah,
pitching.
hitting is so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
He went into multiple reasons why.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure he did. Me and JV can go back and forth with the best of them, but I think hitting is by far the hardest thing to do in probably all of sports.
He'll be really happy.
Yeah,
to
I hope
hear
he is.
that.
I hope I made his day.
I think it did.
Okay.
I think it did. All right. So, what is, in your opinion, a pitcher's most important asset? Is it a single pitch that they have, or is it a mentality, or something else?
Yeah, I think the mentality is a huge separator. However, I think the most important thing a pitcher should know about himself is what their strengths are. Kind of like what makes them a major leaguer, what pitch quality or multiple pitch qualities. and then we embrace that. We really accentuate, their strengths at all costs, and kind of don't dabble in the fringes of movement or usage or anything like that. Like, what is your strength and why are you a big leaguer? And like, that's who you, I think for me, if you think about any pitcher that has played over a long period of time, usually they have an identity, like Mariano had his cutter. Like, the hitter should know what you're trying to do, and they still can't hit it. Like, you don't just make things up out there. There should be a process in place and a plan in place, and you relentlessly execute that every single time out.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit of verbiage, and we always hear about the ace. We like to have a lot of them on the Giants if possible. What, in your opinion, separates an ace from those who don't get the title?
No, I think what separates the ace from the rest of the pitchers in Major League Baseball is probably their ability to go 6 or 7 innings, when they don't have their A stuff, when they're working, whether it's through fatigue or it's just the ball's not coming out of their hand appropriately that day. They find a way to get deep into the game without giving up the runs, right? So like, I think about Webby's outing against the Dodgers this year. Walked in a bases loaded walk in the first inning, and then went like 6 scoreless after that, or 5 scoreless, and got us into the 7th inning. And he didn't have his good stuff that day. And for me, every starter is going to have roughly 28, 30 starts, and there's going to be 10 starts where they're just purely dominant. They have their A stuff. There's going to be probably 8 to 10 starts where they're just grinding and they're not good. And it's really the other 10 starts that make or break your season when you look up at the end of the season and say, oh, wow, I had a 3 ERA or whatever it is. It's those middle 10 starts where you just don't have it all, and how can you throw up zeros consistently?
Yeah. I always think about Mike Krukow too when he talks about an ace. He always talks about, you can have stuff.
Yeah.
But it's, do you know how to pitch when you don't have your stuff?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. No doubt about it. Everyone's going to have their good games, but it's the days where they don't have their stuff. How do you get through it?
So when we get a hold of you guys, there's a whole group of people watching that are like, oh, what can I take back to my little league team? There's all these coaches saying, what would you say is a really important thing for a young pitcher to do, to stay away from, to develop? Let's talk like 10 years old. What do you think at that age?
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old, so it's kind of soon to be 8. Strikes. It doesn't change at any level. Getting ahead in counts, count leverage, throwing strikes at all costs is, and not wasting pitches. The old 0-2 fastball up or curveball down. We try and avoid those. So everything out of hand should be intended to be a strike.
Okay, all right. You heard it from an expert. Which Giants? Let's go starting pitcher is the most intense, and why?
Carlos. Yeah.
Not even a split second.
Intense. Yeah, intense is a good word to explain Carlos Rodon.
I just had a chance to host the 2012 reunion panel, and Vogelsong was on that. And I would say he would fit into that role.
Yeah, probably.
Where he not only didn't talk on the day he pitched, he didn't talk the day before he pitched, right? Like, it shut it down. Yeah. Anybody like that where you just kind of don't, because you have to talk to them day up.
No doubt.
You gotta go over the game plan.
Yeah. Everybody's approachable. Can carry conversations. I wouldn't say, anybody doesn't talk or has that like stern mentality. Carlos is probably the most intense, and Webby's pretty laxed, and Woody's always preparing, like he does. Everyone's got their own routine. I love the way he prepares is
That does
gold.
not surprise me about Logan at all. Hey, I'm pitching today. Okay, this is kind of an unfair question because you weren't a hitter, you were a pitcher. Yeah. But if you were a hitter, which Giants pitcher, we'll open it up to the staff, would you not want to face, and why?
Starter or reliever?
Yep, up the staff. So
Duvall.
go for it.
I would not want to face Camilo Duvall. No, I would feel just the velocity and the arm slot and the violence. It's just. That would, for me, there's no chance I want any of that. I remember last season, I remember Manny Machado, first pitch, literally stepping out of the box against him. And that's how I would feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Me too. Yeah. I would run out of the box.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'd just go home. No, I'm not going to do this.
Yep.
All right. So last question from me, and then we're going to throw it to the fan questions. I just want to know what you'll share about what you say in your mound visit.
Oh, okay.
If anything.
Yeah, typically everyone always jokes with me. I always go, I'd never know what to say. So I'm just like, just giving you a breather here,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Sometimes we're trying to get another pitcher warmed up. Sometimes I'm really trying to calm the situation. Typically, I just go to, I try and get them thinking ahead. Okay, hey, what, you know, maybe I go over a report for maybe the strengths against that guy. But ultimately, it's like, hey, what's next pitch? Hey, what do you guys want to do first pitch here? You know, or like I'll go, hey, your slider's really good against this guy. What do you want to do first pitch? Kind of lead them into the answer a little bit, but have them, you know, reiterate kind of and understand how we're trying to execute to get the next hitter out. So one is just like confirmation of what their strengths are, and then two, how we're gonna get this guy out. So sometimes I'll ask Joey, you know, Kurt or Austin, and then Joey. And then sometimes I'll ask the pitcher, be like, you know, if it's a starter, be like, hey, Woody, you know, this guy chases tons of sliders, back foot. How are we going to get there? What do you want to do first pitch? And he'll be like, hey, I want to go change up down the way or heater at the hands. So try and calm the situation. And I know every time I know there's JP always, or like the bullpen will call if we get a double play after I come off the mound or something. And a lot of times it's just probability, right? You take a mound visit, the next guy's going to get out, right? It's really hard to hit in the major league. So it's just funny how there's little like game going on. The bullpen will call, be like, "Nice visit, Bales." You know,
whatever you did,
whatever you did,
it was amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
So.
yes. All right, let's get through these fan questions.
Yeah.
The first one's from Damon Rocket. Has pitching overall gotten better in Major League Baseball over the past few decades?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think from a velocity, from a movement standpoint, from an understanding of how the player moves and how they need to prepare and recover, no doubt about it.
Okay, Burning Man 17. What tips do you have for young pitchers to develop arm strength, velocity, and control?
I think training is really important. Yeah, training.
Sweet.
Yeah, training. Be athletic. Multiple sports, I think, is huge at a young age. You know, from an arm strength. You know, any type of. I like long toss. I
Build it up.
Yeah, I just like long toss. I think there's something about it. I've had some programs in my life that really helped me there. But yeah, training, you know, and is really important. Recovery is very important as well.
Absolutely, and I love watching long toss. It's like hypnotic.
Yeah, effortless long toss is really
pretty.
important.
There's something pretty about it.
Yeah, effortless is really important there. We don't want to be max out.
No.
Yes.
I would like have to take a running start. But SF Giants Recap wants to know what's more stressful for you, coaching or playing?
Coaching, I think. I think, like we talked about earlier, is just there's a lot of things involved and a lot of people that I care about. Yeah. But when I was playing, it was me, right? If I messed up, it was just me. And here there's a lot of moving parts, and you just try and relate to each and every one of them.
All right, this fan wins for best handle. Strawberry Fanta Princess.
Oh, okay.
Who in the pen has the nastiest stuff, which you kind of already probably...
Is strawberry Fanta a thing?
I don't know, but it sounds really tasty right now.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Hot
San
weather,
Francisco day. I would try it. I'm guessing you're going to go to Duval.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty... That's pretty clear for sure.
Okay, so
although,
then let's adjust it. Like, who would be next to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rogers is a good guy to look at. I mean, his stuff is so unique, even though Velo is not there. But like, his stuff is so unique. So I would have to. I'd have to choose Tyler Rogers.
So that was amazing to get time with the Giants pitching coach, Andrew Bailey. I hope you learned as much as I did, and I hope you'll check out our next episode. Did you do okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Thanks for having me on.
Tell the other coaches it's okay to come on the show.
Yeah, it's totally cool. Yeah, absolutely. Easy.
Thank you, Andrew Bailey.